Hello there, my zealots. This is Joshua coming at you today. Guess what? My computer's fixed. Yay! So now I get to post more often. Probably, hopefully I'll post more often. I intend to post more often. And just so you know, now that I've figured out what was wrong with my computer, I feel like a dumbass. There's an F key, I think it's F8, that turns off my camera. And it's been off for months and I didn't know what was wrong with it. So I'm just dumb. Anyway, so I had this conversation. So you don't know this about me, but I have been doing the Bible for a while now. And only recently, in the past year, 2 years or so, that I've really come to fully understand what biblical canon is. Which ones are of God, which books are of God, which books are not of God. And so I have these, so I have a better understanding of what the Word of God is. Now, the problem is that prior to this understanding, I believed a lot of books that were not biblical canon. Because why wouldn't I? I mean, everybody else believes those books to be true, so why wouldn't I, right? There is a problem with that, because now I've found that I've been teaching things that don't necessarily fit with Scripture. And this woman asked me recently, she tells me, she's like, oh yeah, is it okay for me to preach to men? And I'm like, no, according to Scripture, you're not allowed to preach to men. Because it says that I would not allow a woman to teach nor usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. And she's like, where's that in the Bible? Guess where that's in the Bible? It's in Timothy. Do you know who wrote Timothy? Not Paul. Paul did not write Timothy. Somebody else wrote Timothy. So does that mean it's biblical canon? No. It means it's not biblical canon. It is not biblical canon. So I had to go back and I had to rework some stuff. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that women have authority to teach. However, it does broaden the horizons a bit. So this is what I have. So I went back and I did all the research. I went back and redid all the research on women's authority in the church and left out. I had to start from scratch. I left out all of the stuff from Titus and 1st and 2nd Timothy and anything else in Peter and anything in those books. I just was like, okay, we're going to throw those out. I'm going to rebuild this doctrine from scratch. Okay. And leave it all the superfluous stuff that was added by people other than Paul. So this is what I have come to, and I wrote this down in my new book. Dun, 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 dun. This is my book that I built. I've made this book, by the way. I think it's dope. It is so sick. Like, look at this. I built this from scratch. Anyway, so in my book, sorry, I had strange flex. I know. Anyway, so I was in my book. And so what I wrote down in this book was that these are the rules that I have ascertained via the Scriptures, excluding anything that was not written by Paul. When speaking in the church, only one family member is allowed to speak. So the way it's going to work is this. So I have this in my book. In my book. There's a chain of command when concerning the household, and I can go. There's basically the patriarch, matriarch, the adult son, the adult single daughter. Anyway, it goes on and on. It's 3 right here. I might actually start writing stuff down and posting it on Instagram. I think that's a really good idea. Anyway, so this is what I wrote on the household chain of authority. And then this is what I wrote about women's authority in the church. Okay. Now, when speaking in the church, only one person per family is assigned to speak. And the reason I bring this up is because it says in the Scriptures, it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, it says that it's like women are if a woman wants to learn anything, let them ask. The women are not permitted to speak. Wait. Let me look it up real quick. Just make sure. So that way we're all on the same page. 1 Corinthians chapter 14. I'm almost positive it's chapter 14. Okay, and it says, in 34. Now, listen very closely. Now, because of the other scriptures, I was interpreting this differently. But once we got rid of these other scriptures, we should just read it as it says, okay? It's very important, the wording of this, okay? let your women keep silent in the churches. This is not written to women. This is written to men. Let me repeat that. Let your women keep silent in the churches, for it is not permitted for them to speak. Your women. If I'm a man and I'm married and I have wives, those wives are not allowed to talk because they are my women. Men are allowed to talk. Women that belong to that man are not allowed to talk. Well, what if a woman doesn't have a man? It doesn't say anything about a woman that doesn't have a man. It just talks about the women that have men. They are not permitted to speak. Why? Because the man is supposed to be speaking. So, when I looked at this, and I got rid of the other one that says, no, women are not allowed to teach, usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. When I just read this one, let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted for them to speak. But they are commanded under to be obedience, also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. So this is speaking specifically to married women. Why? Because they have a husband. They are permitted to, they have to let them go talk to their husbands at home. For it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. What kind of woman? A married woman. Why is it a shame for a married woman to speak in the church? Because she's usurping the authority of her husband. If a woman does not have authority, then she can speak in the, if the woman is not under the authority of a man, she can speak in the church. She has to be able to. She has to ask somebody the questions. So this is what I break down. Okay, so I'm like, now that I've gotten this out of the way, let's go into this. When speaking in the church, only one person per family is assigned to speak. Okay, one person in a family is assigned to speak. The husband speaks for the wives, concubine, and children. Okay, the husband is the first line of defense. So it's the patriarch, the matriarch, the husband, or the adults. Anyway, so we're going to keep going. Okay, and then it goes, if a servant, master or mistress is absent, and then the servant can speak for themselves and the children, men before women. So if the master or mistress is gone, because it goes the men, then the women. Okay, so then we go, if the husband is absent, each wife speak for her own children and the handmaidens in the church. So if the husband is gone, then the woman speaks for her children and her handmaidens. Okay? If the father and mother are absent, then the oldest adult male child speaks for his siblings in the church. So it starts to break down. There's the guy that's in charge of the entire household, then the wives who are in charge of their children, and then the oldest child, which is male, will then be in charge of the children. Then the oldest unmarried female will be in charge of that. These are adults, and then it would be the oldest child that has not hit puberty, regardless of gender. You're feeling how this works, okay? So this is how the hierarchy goes. So yes, women can speak in the church if they have no husband to speak for them. So women can teach in the church, or teach. So if they have no man to speak for them, they can speak in the church for themselves. But if they have a man to speak for them, then that man should be speaking, she should not be speaking in the church. When it comes to witnessing, women can witness as long as they have no man to witness for them. But a woman should not be witnessing unless she has a husband. A woman's first priority is to her household. Her desire shall be to her husband, and he shall rule over her. Okay, so that does not change. However, a woman can go witnessing, and a woman can teach men, because it doesn't say that a woman can't. It just says that she's not permitted to speak in the church if she has a husband. Specifically, speak in the church if she has a husband. So I wanted to put this out there. This is mind-blowing. I know it's revelatory. It's brand new stuff that I just realized recently. So I wanted to put that out there. I'm thinking that with this new book, I'm going to be posting some of the stuff that I write in this book into my Instagram account. So you might want to check that out. Also, I have a P.O. box that I'm going to be posting in the description that you can send me stuff if you want to. And I'm going to try and start putting more information on this thing on the reg. So you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. You know I love God because I love virtue, justice, and salvation. I'm so grateful that everything is turning out fine. It's a really interesting story how this thing got fixed, by the way. But if you want to hear that, let me know. If you have any questions, leave your comments in the comments section. Click the button, click the dingy, click the subscribe, click the dingy thingy if you want to get the things, noted when I come in here. And yeah, feel free to send me any questions at any time about anything you want to discuss, because that's what I'm here for. Saturday Pacific Standard Time, we have the live stream. Be there or be square. You guys have a great day. I love God because I love virtue, justice, and salvation. Bye.